Hi, happy Monday, everyone. Hi, how are you? Let me cut this music off. Okay. I don't know how loud it sounds on your end, but hello, happy Monday. Let me know. I always do a check in. Say hi, tell me where you're from. Um, Let me know you can hear me okay. And before I do anything, make sure that you if you're on a Facebook page. Like, subscribe if you aren't already. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you. So, I don't know why my screen always cuts off at the top. Let me see if I can click at the very bottom of comments. Hey, hey, precious. Hand pink waving. Why does it write it out? Well, there's a lot to talk about today. I'm waiting for y'all to come and click some more likes. Let me see how much is going on YouTube over here. And in the Facebook group, hello, Facebook group. There's going to be some exclusive things for you in the Facebook group. So I'll share at the end for those who are on YouTube or watching a replay, don't know how to get into the group. I'll tell you how you can get in the group. Okay. There is some group exclusive things that go on. This group originally actually hosted a lot of the free trainings. And so from time to time, we'll do exclusive free trainings only in the group. And so, um, yes, hello. Hi from Miami, Florida. Okay, let me just parch. I had made tea and I left it in another room, but I'm going to work it out. How's everybody on Monday? Mondays are can be very hard to get started. But as I said in the headline today, we are going to talk about the microloc methods and techniques that can damage your locks and that pros should avoid. I actually had a different title. I realized the sensitivity sometimes. I didn't want things to be taken the wrong way. But the underlying message is that we also have a reputation if you're a professional, actually doing this as a professional service, that you don't want to damage either. And so I always like for us to move beyond, make sure we have great results now, but the results, and especially when it comes to something progressive like hair locking, you want to set the foundation up so that it's going to progressively evolve. That's the whole concept of locking. And so we want to make sure that it doesn't just look good in the chair for the moment, but that it looks good down the line. So I've been sharing a little bit more photos of my own hair. My hair will be 16 years old. I've cut it a few times. It's also um, it always needs retightening. But I was like, just be transparent because I've been through a lot, like a lot of us have, and a great foundation and a skill pro combination is like a miracle combination. It will make sure that you can really pretty much get through almost anything and have um, someone who knows how to address those issues in your hair. So if right from the start there's things that are faulty, it only it only sets it up down the line that there could be more potential problems. I don't speak to be popular. I speak to help people like myself and other people who've been kind enough to share their appreciation for my information, and people who are in our program who've expressed appreciation for knowing these skills. I speak to that audience. So I do know that sometimes there's mixed reaction about, whoa, this is that and that is this. I'm also speaking from someone who had coined and was really branding and creating Microlocs as an option, an alternative. So let's talk about really quickly. I'm Jessica Marshall, CEO, founder of Naturally Beautiful Hair Care, Microloc Mastery, and I coined Microlocs out of Brooklyn in 2009 to really encompass this. I don't want to use the word alternative, but this enhanced option to what was existing, which at that time was sister locks, and I was very inspired. But there was just a lot of innovation that I believe was happening and could happen to enhance it that made you go out of the box of sister locks. So, with the help of my mentor, who was also a former sister loctician trained directly by Joanne Cornwell herself, we worked to continue to develop on innovation, incorporating different tools, adjusting size, adjusting technique, adjusting rotation, every single thing that we felt needed to be enhanced so that the locks were strong and did not have the problems that were happening before. So she didn't call it Microlocs. I called it Microlocs. And she said, you know what? She retired herself out of doing locks after a while. And I took on growing, continuing to grow, and created my own hair tool in 2013 and just really took on branding Microlocs. She was really supportive of it. Was the intention was always to provide these options. When women have broken locks, there was no lock reattachment that was in the sister lock company at the time. They didn't believe in adding hair, fake hair. So I said, how can I figure this out? Because all I see are regular lock extensions, regular lock kind of support. So I paid a lot of money to get trainings that already existed and figured out how to put them on a small scale. So I'm speaking from all the sweat and tears I put into at least creating some foundational knowledge, and I'm sharing it. So I know sometimes there's a lot of new information that's out on the scene, and I'm very transparent. I had to go away to be a single mom for a few years, so I hopped off of YouTube and I hopped off of a lot. And when I came back and tried to really restart and revive my YouTube channel that was basically flatlined for years, I came back to so many things I had never seen and so many things that were problems before. So I speak from that perspective. So very much in the beginning, hands-on of creating this, and very much a part of refining and repairing all small locks. Now, if that's some information that you like, you appreciate, stay here. If that's not something, you can hop off and it's okay. The second thing I wanted to say also, that I'm a licensed social worker. So I do incorporate, and I was a former faculty at Columbia University, School of Social Work in New York City. I incorporate a lot of knowledge about education and curriculum to build my Microloc Mastery Training and Certification Program. And I also take a lot of what I know as a professional therapist. I'm acting as a therapist now, currently have therapy clients, and I infuse that into having higher standards of professionalism, client experiences, etc. That's a mouthful, but I think it's important for me to add some context so that if there's anyone that didn't understand or who I was or a little bit about my background, maybe to help put things into context on why I speak about the things I speak about. Hi, Natasha. Hey. Hi, Treasure Locks and Tips. Hi, Nicole from Houston. Hey, Nicole. Oh, you always show up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Natasha. And I appreciate everyone who's watching now and everyone who's liked the video so far to kick into the algorithm so that this information can go out, because there are people that are looking for this. And if you are in the category of professional who really values high quality work and really stands for, you have a experience that makes this information click for you, it is good to push this information out so that people can start being really discerning and valuing your skills even more. This is one thing to say, I don't do what everyone else is asking for. It's people to be like, oh, well, she doesn't do. Instead, it's seen as, oh, that person, that professional doesn't do what everyone is asking for. And I like that because they know something about the locking process that they are telling me about for my results. And, they're maybe preventing me from having certain experiences that I would not want. So if we can look at it that way, this topic is always, a lot of my topics come from real interactions that I probably had the day before or that day. And I had a few interactions like this with people, who somehow cross the program but don't really fully sink into the program. And I started to realize why. They wanted to, this is what I hear often. I was a sister loctician. I know already how to do interlocks, and I want to know how to do something different. What's different from the sister locks? Mind you, my whole company, this whole foundation of why I created Microlocs was to have distinct differences from sister locks. So that, number one, I'd have to make sure I explained the premise behind I term as Microlocs and Microloc Mastery, which started through Naturally Beautiful Hair Care. But also, if you're a real skilled loctician, you understand that there is so much variety even in the interlock or interwoven lock realm. There's a plethora of there's tools, there's rotations, there's patterns. Even in the sister law company alone, there's so many different types of rotations and patterns, and they have one tool, but there's so many other tools on the market. Now, deciphering and understanding how those tools affect hair, how sizing affects, is all information that you add as a professional. Either you've experienced it yourself, or you've done a lot of research, or you had enough clientele. Like, there's a combination of education and knowledge that would tell you can't just say, I know how to interlock, and it's okay, well, she knows exactly what the other person is doing. Like I said, well, I don't know if I said this, but a large part of my clients in the beginning came from Sister Locks, which uses an interwoven lock pattern, but they have their own system. And I was doing repairs, and most of my clients there were referrals from my mentor. I told you she was a former Sister Loctician, formally separated so that she can be more innovative and do the tools and things needed to really refine the hair properly for her. So I had all Sister Lock clients, and I was branding and creating Microlocs, and nobody was coming in with Microlocs. They were even didn't even know what the word was. They were just like, "What's that?" And this is in New York City. So now that there's people that say they know how to interlock, there's still an understanding about tension, and I talk about tool types and differences even in the free trainings, how that factors into hair types. So you can see differences in skills even from people that say they do the same thing, because there's so many different variations. So, hey y'all, hey W, I think that's when I'll. So depending on how we start our locks, does this mean I have to cut? No, it doesn't mean you have to cut. I actually always feel like most things can be repaired. Most things. If there's only like a few situations where I think someone would have to cut their locks up, but I always take the approach that it should be the very last thing that people do. Like, it's the last resort. So when I get back to professionals, and this the reason for this whole thing, and so I see some people on the fence about certain things that people are asking for. Now, mind you, anybody can run their business any way they like. I'm only speaking for a certain level of quality in this industry, a certain level of integrity and professionalism on client satisfaction and what results they'll end up possibly having. And so I put that into my response, and I'll tell you my response. Miss Jessica, specialized training, you would learn how to adjust on the current pattern. Oh, she's answering Wendy. Although tedious existing locks, yeah, they can be combed out or they can be refined. We have some criteria to look at before we can say it's a no. There's certain things that we have to be able to do with that lock. And if we can't do it, then it's like, okay, then we can probably cut them off. Comb them out. And if you can't comb them out, then, cutting is like the very, 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 very last option. So when it comes to people saying, I give my clients choice. Now, this is the tricky part, because this round, I kind of, like I said, we were doing this whole Microloc branding and disappeared. And then now people have picked up the baton and they're like, I'm a pro on although it started before them. And there was a specific kind of criteria that they maybe weren't aware of. When it comes to the level of standards that would keep it strong the longest, the less problematic, and the most refined, so that you can continue that interwoven pattern safely and effectively, there should be, and there are, and there have been through the standards that we now have with Microloc Mastery. There always has been that. So when people are using methods that don't fall on, that will disrupt that process, for instance, y'all know I talk about doing two-strand twists and doing braids. Now, it doesn't mean that it's devastating. Oh no, the world's going to fall apart, but it means that there's going to be a heightened potential. Number one, just locking in a barrel, cylindrically in a barrel. There's a specific reason why we have a refined version of an interlocking pattern. We have a specific refined version and tool combination for the program from Microloc Mastery. So even if someone knows, there's different rotations that will look differently, but the design that what I use is, so no matter the texture, no matter the size, you're going to get a barrel that resembles a lock. These are for people who want locks, because there's another point of the conversation I'm going to get to in a moment when it comes to even what people are at, what they're desiring, and how what a pro's purpose should be in helping understand and decipher what it is people are looking for. But if you wanted to lock in a way that resembles what a larger lock would look like, but on a micro level, a small level, there's certain things that need to be done in a certain way so that as you maintain it, it maintains the same size. It cannot maintain the same size and pattern if you're starting it completely different than how you're maintaining it. And the way that we start it is an exact complement, mirror to what you're doing as the hair grows out the scalp. So you're just picking up from where you left off. If you are um, braiding or whatever, now you're doing the roots a different way, and now the hair, the curl pattern, everything is responding differently. And depending on what else is happening in the maintenance and the routine, it's very likely that they won't stay in properly, to lock properly, to lock proper with the proper tightness and strength. So there's weak spots or there's inconsistencies. And yeah, it can look really like a nice style still, because a lot of people have differences on what they find to be nice for themselves. But if we're just talking on the basis of theories of creating a strong lock and how um, it is intended to be on this level, some of the original kind of definitions of just mirroring what a traditional lock would do, but on this small level of locking the hair. So now there's so much going on where people, I don't even know if people really want locks. They're wanting a style, they want a look, they want a temporary thing. But the problems that are coming with trying to interlock that is ripping, it's tearing, not just the lock is at the base and also along the lock and also at the ends. The ends are be getting brittle and dry. And so like you see here in this picture on the side, now she has sister locks and they were just a lot of hair left out. And so that it's just, even with any method, it's a possible. But why do making putting in a method where it's even more likely to unravel and be puffy in the long run, and then you're gonna grow it out at the roots and do a whole other method, it makes it even higher of a chance. Okay, so let's say that doesn't happen to you, right? That doesn't happen. Um, a lot of people will argue, and that's interesting energy too, because it's like I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to give some foundational information. Take it or leave it. But for the pro level, I think pros should want to know some foundational knowledge so that they can, use that to guide the quality services and demand the prices that they want, etc. The DIY is a different realm. But when they're like, I saw someone and it looks fine, da, 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 or I don't know if it looks fine. I'll say this: there's little technical difficulties. There's technical differences within the quality intention I can see. So let's just say this: when you have eyes on a professional level, you may have eyes differently than eyes on amateur level, because you don't really know what you're looking at. You'll just see locks or you'll see a grid. A lot of the grid is used to distract y'all. You can't even see my grid, but most people see hair. And what I love is that I really want my hair to look good, more than the grid, although the grid is good too. But at the end of the day, your locks are what's really making your hairstyle. So when we look at the locks, we're looking at how they're evolving, how the shape of the barrel, how all these things. And so some people may not care about that, and that's fine. But I think if someone is looking for a certain quality and a certain level, and um, or there's a pro saying they're doing a certain quality, um, being a representation of that quality is going to be important. So you are now, like if you were in a gathering of other professionals who knew their stuff, what would they say about the quality of your work versus what amateur or DIYers or people who weren't so knowledgeable about the technique? It's a different audience. So if I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if my message is heard properly, but we want to always uphold a standard, even if the audience or the customer or the clients don't yet know every all the ins and outs of it, because isn't usually their thing. They're coming to get good hair. They might have seen a couple of photos. Now it's our responsibility to say this is the level of quality that would warrant the work and the price and things that I have, because down the line it will matter when their hair is evolving differently and they run into someone who has a certain quality. I want to speak on something really quick before I lose it, but thank you. Yeah, there's so many people with really nice locks. I like when I see, we know what we see when we see really well done um, locks. And we don't want people to not be able to have their best um, because when they go to a pro, the pro didn't tell them. They're going to offer you. So a lot of people, or people are doing this. They're coming to me telling me, I'm offering the three ways to start: the braids, the twist, or an interlock, which still is a big open area of what kind of tool, what kind of rotation pattern. Like it's not a monolith in itself either. There's so many different variations. But when they're doing that, here's my thinking. If it has been shown over a period of people weren't doing twists 10 years ago, but it's been shown over a significant period of time, over a few years, we've been able to look at the market, look at the results. And if it's shown that there's a higher potential for certain things to happen, there's a higher potential for a need of repair and refinement to close up areas. If it's shown that, why would you offer that service knowing that you might have to do more repair work? So some people say I'm offering it at a lower price, which is the same thing I used to argue about when people said I do sister locks at this price and micro locks at this price. I would always say, why would you want to do any subpar service for the same type of look? To You don't want to ever be so desperate or thirsty for clients that if people will listen to you if you're a pro, if they truly want something. Sometimes it's a matter of you just explaining it to them, but I would feel some type of way knowing that, let's say I charge 1,000 for this. I'm just throwing numbers, and I charge 500 for two-strand twists, knowing that that person's gonna probably end up sitting in the chair a little longer to close up stuff. Because once I start interlocking those roots, the ends are gonna be puffy. They're gonna visually notice a difference if they're in the same space with my other clients who started it with the interlock, same hair texture. Um, there's potential for them to pay me more at the end in the long run, because depending on the hourly rate, if you're interlocking, you're going to probably charge the same hourly rate to interlock something else, but you may now have to do more repairs. And depending on how you price that and charge that, it's a potential that now that client is ended up paying just as much as they thought they were saving. Um, but even if it all stays together, every single one of them miraculously stays together, there's still tension differences and there's still a different look visually that that client may not, down the line, a year, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, may notice their locks are twice as big or 3 times as big as what they wanted, or the roots, or now they're having problems pulling it through because it's hardened in such a way where it's harder to put onto the tool, it's harder to pull it through. Um, no worries. I just jump in. You can always watch the beginning from the replay, but I just kind of jumped in about some of these potential problems that are happening, and just trying to understand the rationale between offering um, something that hasn't really been market tested and proven as a foundational method for microlocks. It's more of a DIY creative. It looks really good in the chair. We're going to be experimental. But here's what I always ask people: what do you really want locked hair? Are you willing to walk through this process of a lock journey? Because if you are, then when you leave your hair loose like that and you lock just the base and you got a really fat curly end, there's potential that your lock journey is going to have some hiccups that you might not want to deal with. Are you going to comb out all that hair and do this whole routine? Because if so, then that's really not something that people who want to lock their hair want to do. That's something that a loose natural is still doing. I don't miss those days, and I didn't want to lock my hair so that I could be putting stuff on the ends of it to keep it from locking. It's one question. And so if I'm going to a pro to get locks, secondly, I'm not sure if they know how to start a lock fresh using the entire interwoven lock technique, which then would concern me when it comes to repair and refinement, repair techniques that need to be done to close up what could inevitably happen as spaces and holes and soft spots. It just happens in the process, especially because we have different hair textures throughout our hair, and especially because sometimes we'll have texturized hair from processing, from color. So if we have a pro that knows how to do that, it goes back into the hamster wheel thing. If they know how to do that and they know that there's a potential problem, why would they start it in any other way and charge you? Well, it just seems like there is a missing gap of like having a professional stance on the quality of work. And so when someone tells me that they've done this and that, this the problem is that there's been a lot of information that's been allowed to be seen as an authority because of maybe the number of followers and likes. It's going to change. Oh, y'all stay pair with us because 2024 is about to be amazing when it comes to really solidifying knowledge and things like that, and really supporting the pros that are out there really doing the thing and doing it properly and really giving great results. And then when down the line, all things have to do is just evolve. I hate to say that. They're just going to have to evolve for people to see. And that usually it could take, I mean, I would give a year. It takes about a year to start. Some people's hair takes 2 years, but within that first year, by the end of that first year, people, if their hair isn't really settling into the process, they're seeing the problems. And if it's not being addressed at a certain time frame, like we talk about with the milestones, then it's more permanent damage. And then all of a sudden they don't have the locks anymore, or all of a sudden they're cutting like it's just stuff that you could avoid and just have the process just keep getting beautiful and stronger each time. So I went the definition of professional, right? Relating to or belonging to a profession, and a person competent or skilled in a particular activity. They're usually competent, skillful, and assured. They are assured because they know, without a doubt, this process, without a doubt, how it evolves. Never does a loctician, any realm, big traditional, ever sit and say that person in that chair, that is how your hair is going to look. They know that locking is a process, and that over time, the results are seen over time. They're never seen right in the middle. The only exception would be extension work, insta lock work. But even then, it evolves a little bit, right? But and there's things that can happen down the line as your hair grows out. So they're usually professional enough to equip it, to make sure it's strong, to make sure they know the routine to do to keep it looking like that. But if you're starting locks from the beginning, the seed stage, you're laying that seed down, you have to know that that seed is going to evolve into the final process, like what that's going to look like. I was going to say the final project, but the final outcome. So if a loctician is really focused a lot on the beginning stages, only the grid, it looks great in the chair, you got a head full of curls, which you could do in any other way, which you could do temporarily without interlocking that base and starting the locking process for your own hair and having those. Like you can get those looks. You know how we did back in the day when we were doing micro braids and we were doing maybe the mini Senegalese twist, and you had them in for a while and then you took them out and you had them in. You had the temporary style, but you kept it longer, but you knew you had to take it out and put it back in. You had to do something to it. Kim Fields did that. Brandy did that with her braids, like back in the day. Now it's this realm that hasn't, partially because I didn't do the things I need to do in the beginning as well. But there's a lot of damage being done, open-ended, playing around, experimenting on things that are actually wreaking havoc down the line. And on a pro level, I think that's where the line should be drawn. Like, again, you can't, people, I played in my hair a lot too, but it was my hair and I wasn't hurting anyone. But when people get behind the chair and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And now I get inboxes, and how many of y'all get them? I don't know how many other people get inboxes of, can you fix this? Or I had this experience. I had to cut them all out. I had to comb them all out. It's like, it's nonstop. And I would be totally wrong to never speak on that and to just cater to what the trends were instead of always holding to what I spent a lot of years fixing, what other people are fixing, and not speaking out about that those could be problematic. And so there's things that are damaging, not just that they don't look good, not just that they don't lock well, but they're actually causing damage to people's hair. Try to take whatever tool you use and take that. Then I showed y'all some pictures and some of my other, y'all could look on the channel. I'll try to tag where it was really, really fat ends. And you can see the grid is a little square and it's just ballooning out because it's just really puffy. And I'm like, I already know what that's like to sit in a chair because when I show y'all this lady, um, she kind of had, she kind of had balloon. They weren't even as big as others. It couldn't even fit on my tools. I had to, I had to like do all type of finagling just to get it through and then to get through to smooth that and then to get through to smooth through her roots and then not to tear it. So we're not going fast. Those who like to be fast and efficient and quick, you're slowed down, you're stopped, or you're ripping her hair out. And hi Veronica. And so it's so many other things that are problematic about it. And people really I think should avoid, if you're on the fence. Here's another thing that I wanted to say about that. Your work, your work is always going to speak for you. If anybody says, so and so did my hair, who's on? Tilamania did my hair, Precious did my hair. Um, when you're walking around, they're your advertising. So I also would say, I wouldn't want to do a service that I know. If I'm a skilled lactician, some people argue, I've been doing this for so many years. So and they say they see the difference between the braid, the lock, and the twist, but they give their clients options, but you know the difference, and you know it doesn't look as good, but you're still doing it because you're trying to get them instead of just educating and saying. So here's the thing, though, that comes back to you. If it's not the best representation of the quality of work that you know you really do, but you wanted to um, give options. So what are the options based on? Now let's dig a little deeper. Sorry, I just like a science. It's a little exciting for me. But fix the options people are asking for. I want fluffiness. I want fullness. Fluffy and fullness. The rule of thumb, I always say, never mess with the integrity and structure of your lock. Get that solid, and then we can manipulate and do the other things on the other end. Don't mess with the structure of the lock, but you can adjust sizing, you can adjust styling. So even when I showed the video I had of me um just curling, spiraling it, also on top of new growth. Excuse me, I'm sorry, getting excited and I'm burping. Oh Lord. The whole purpose is I'm trying to say is that my hair is thin, right? Naturally. My hair is thin, my edges are thin. That's my hair. But I can make it 2, 3, 4 times the volume by doing a few other things. And I can keep my locks strong because the worst thing that I would want is for my locks to come out and break off. Because if I'm already dealing with thin hair myself, um, you're seeing a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's gonna hopefully, I know I'm gonna speak into existence, is going to change. And as long as there are people like yourself or people who are watching who are really adamant about high quality locks, the artistry of locks means you have to get the hair to lock really well. And then you can do like that's the concept that a lot of locticians really have. Mastering the art of locking the hair, not leaving it partially unlocked and loose and all these different things, so that now it is very weak and fragile and hard to maintain on the way that you need to maintain it. Palm rolling is a little bit of a different category when it comes to loose hair in the ends because they're not maintaining it. So palm rolling has a lot more flexibility in so many different ways. If you're coming over to this realm, this is a niche and a realm. And even when Sister Locks was in existence, I found I needed to enhance and refine and strengthen. You need to do certain things. It's going to be very problematic and can be very, it can be very wear people down emotionally if that's not what they desire. Like honestly, it could look good for a moment, but we don't. I don't know how many of y'all just like to live for the moment, or you like to have things look good now and later. I don't know. Let me know if you Because if it's not, then I'm not gonna be saying the conversation is not gonna please you. What was the bunching due to not braiding and banding or due to too much loose ends? Probably too much loose ends. That wasn't really my client. I just did some repair. Um, and I think it was neglect. With that client, you're talking about this client, I believe. Um, Let me get it up on the screen. And um, I'll tell you what it was. It was skill neglect. Even if her hair, because you know what happens is sometimes people just have a texture of hair that just naturally is curly. It just requires someone to be focused on ensuring that it's all locked in, and it just looked like neglect. And it was also spacey, and there was bunches and spots that weren't repaired. I don't think she ever really got repair. I think they just focused on the roots. As you can see, the roots are pulled in, and I think I started to retighten that. So, and they're very, very skinny. I was noticing such a stark difference in the size, and it's just, so I think that they were not repaired. They were just done, and then they were left. And so that's why I always caution people, even going to someone that's not going to know how to maintain your whole entire life. So the person that was on YouTube that said they didn't want their hair to look like mine, that's fine. You're not my audience. You're not at you don't the level of locking that it makes the audience, and that's fine. But I do know there are people who want their hair to be locked, and they want them to be even, and they want them to be the same size, etc. So those, if that's y'all are my people, then, and it doesn't have to look exactly like mine, because my hair is 4C. So someone's hair who's a little bit looser, there's not going to look like mine. There's going to probably look slightly a little poofier, but not really. It just has little tiny differences you can see. And they may not want it this size. I wanted mine to be this size because I wanted I wanted my locks to look like strands of hair. That was what my mindset was. And some people want their locks to be a little bit bigger, even with my hair texture or not. So what's the point I'm trying to make is that I just had to mention that, because if the person that was like, oh, if you wanted a different desired look, you can still within the realm of getting good quality locks. Your hair is going to lock no matter what. You're going to have to fight it. If you're going to start the process and you're going to just coax it into the pattern, is one thing. If you're trying to keep your hair loose in some parts, or you're trying to have a real puffy, swollen look, but you want to keep interlocking it, I suggest sometimes people go just get traditional locks. Because when you get into this realm of micro, and what that even means, it'll be broken down later in another format. But what that really means versus, and then you have interlocks, which is fine too. But there's still certain qualities about an interlock. I've had interlock clients as well. I've had men who had bigger locks who always maintain a some went between palm roll and interlock with me back and forth. And there's skill to doing that without having that fork that people talk about. There's a lot of this skill. You can definitely not have that. But what that person had that made it so much easier was a cylinder, even going between the methods. They had a cylinder. And if there was any knots or things, it would have been a problem it would have interfered with the interlocking. So he didn't have that. He didn't have knots. Someone was palm rolling his hair very well, and then I was interlocking his. He always said, "I wanted with that tool." And so there's people that can do that and go back and forth between, as long as it's done really well and there's skill. I've been maintaining mine for 3 years and learning things here and there. What does your course offer for people like me? Oh, you're a DIYer? Cool. What I do seems to be working. Yeah, so we do have like self-retightening. 2024, we're going to enhance the courses to offer, but everyone as it stands right now always has coaching support. And you have an individual call coaching support, and you also have group opportunities to be in the group with us and ask any questions. And so you have a one-on-one when you join the program. So some people find that that's helpful to troubleshoot repair issues. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. And I've the person that comes to my mind right now, she joined right when the lockdown started in 2020. Just got her install like maybe a month or two before. No, I don't want to say a month or two. It was like a few months. She was still new. And she was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? So she took the retightening course, but she also took a lot of the support calls, and she had her one-on-one. She actually used the training at that time. I didn't even add all the repair that we have now. And she repaired and fixed her hair and retightened her hair, and her locks look so good. Maybe she goes back to someone now, because I don't think she wanted to do that forever. But it gives people options, it gives people support, and you'd be surprised. Um, I think just having awareness of what you need for your hair helps guide you when you find someone too. Some people put their locticians on their feet, like not to be annoying client, but to just say, I know what is possible for me in a retightening session, or what's possible in a maintenance session, and so it's easier for you to be able to find a great person that matches that. Or you could continue to maintain your own hair. The flexibility and the money saved is priceless in itself. Hi, Tilamonia. Tension plays a part as well, definitely. So when people say I know how to interlock, it's like you got tension differences, you got tool differences, you got rotation differences. It's not just one thing. And absolutely. And then so I noticed when people go really fast, or when they use certain type of tools, that it can be spacier. I did talk about what I was noticing between the difference with the sister lock tool and then the tool type that I supported and promoted with the program. And what I was noticing was there was a little more space in between. No matter how tight they tried, that type of tool never could get it at the same tension you could get it with the other type of tool we talk about. And we talk about in the course. Um, and I know what I mean, like, huh? People, it might not matter to some people, but for those on a technical, more advanced level, you know what I mean. And you'll see it. You can see even like the wiriness when you visually look at someone, and I can see when someone's got used a different type tool, and I'm like, oh, because it's all kind of pulled in tighter, no matter the hair texture. I want to make sure I get over my main points. Okay. So we talked about achieving different things that clients are looking for in different ways. That big one is fullness. A lot of people say they were looking for. And you can definitely achieve fullness in different ways. I would strongly advise against starting it in a weaker kind of way to try to achieve fullness. I would say this is where we need to get our fundamentals up on the locking process as locticians and create locks on this size, not traditional, because the traditional sizes uses braids and twists. A lot of times they use twists and coils because they're bigger. On this size, we can now play with a little bit more in a different way to get and achieve the fullness. We're taking into consideration their hair pattern and how the lock is going to expand, right? And we also want to make sure that people really do want locked hair, because if you have to educate people on why it is not advisable to have loose hair that is not locking within any type of pattern on a micro level that you desire to interweave or interlock, and how that can be very problematic. I don't know if people want to wait 2, 3, 4 years for those ends to grow out and cut them. I think that's a very poor way to look at it. I think it's, can we get it to be, because then you'll lose your length, and you'll have instead of just starting it all consistently. And also with cutting ends, there's a lot of things, a lot of more problems that can happen when you don't cut properly. Let me make my other point. Right. So you also deprive a client of getting their best results possible when you are doing something, some professions really true. I'll say to say professional for lack of a better term. They really do know that that's not the same result, but they'll do it anyway for the money. And so you're kind of depriving your client of getting possibly something that they would have wanted more. And so people say, I explained it very thoroughly, but the fact that you're offering them something that I feel would be subpar to begin with, no matter what the price cut is, maybe decide on whether you want. It's just bad practice. It's kind of like I'm going to a dentist. The dentist is gonna give me the service that's gonna have me keep coming back because a tooth might fall out, and it might be getting, or am I gonna just get what I need to get, and we'll work out, you know, what the other objections are or questions I may have. Mine still was hell with the freaking sister lock too. Oh no, no, I don't want to talk bad. Dang, you went in. I took it off because I talk frank. I just speak truth about like what I was noticing with Sister Love, but I don't want to, energy is big. Energy is big. Um, and I sometimes y'all hear me sounding very passionate and aggressive. Y'all don't know what I've been through. This is 15 years of me talking about. This is when I was getting swarmed on by sister lacticians when I started to expose that that tool was becoming problems for some people, and that they were using a different tool, and they weren't, they were sneaking. And I said, y'all should know, like this, like just avoid that. Like you really, honestly, I felt like we can build our businesses on being honest. We don't have to sneak. And if there's something that doesn't work for us, we can go about a way to find an alternative that does work for us. But I don't like deception. I don't like deception, especially when it comes to Black women's hair. So when you talk about that tool, I never used it on my hair. So they used to get mad at me for saying that, but I was like, I don't have sister locks. And they're like, you do have sister locks. I said, I don't use the tool. I can barely describe the tool. I've never used it on any of my clients. And one thing I want to say about building a business as a professional, there's some people that are like, well, do I need to get certified? And they'll get kind of, the Microloc stuff is a hot mess. So they're confused about what they're seeing with the trainings, but don't be confused by Microloc mastery. But whatever everybody else is saying, and then they're like, I should just take the sister locks. But the thing is that the point I was trying to make about, oh God, don't leave my head, because it's gonna come back, come back. About the problems with I never had to misrepresent myself. I never had to deceive people and say I do sister locks. I never was interested in the training because I had what I needed. And that's just my journey. It's not anybody else's. If anybody else wants to go that route, I think it's fine. I just think there's some people that think that they have to in order to get a certain level of quality, and you absolutely don't. I've actually had all my clients were I've repaired and enhanced on the Sister Locks clients, and then I created my new clients under this brand new brand called Microlocs. I was branding in Brooklyn, and they came in, and people were like, "What do I call my hair?" Because the ones that I would start from scratch, what would I? And they're like, "Do I say Sister Locks?" I'm like, "Well, technically you don't, but I know you don't want to get into the whole thing because nobody knows what you mean when you say Microlocs. So just, you know, um, you can either say thank you, keep it moving, or you can, if you have the energy to go and say, well, technically, but nobody really does. And I don't think it was fair at the time for people to have to explain. So, but I always say that I continue to build the business. I continue to have faith in knowing that if you do good quality work, you don't have to do things that are not within what you feel is going to give the best results. Okay. You don't have to. Let me and other people be an example who were able to not have to. I don't, because I also knew if I were to go to someone and they told me they did something and then they didn't do it, or like I wasn't in the mood for that. Like didn't have the capacity to handle that. I didn't even know. I just knew I wanted really great results, and so it's unfair to the clients as well to kind of play this game with them, as opposed to just say, be truthful and honest about what you provide. Most people don't. They only care about the results and the quality and professionalism that you give them and your work. That's what they care about. And how you are as a professional, and do you care about their hair? It kind of can be even give people the wrong message when they say, well, they said they knew so much about locks. Why would they do this to my hair? I've had people say that. Why would they put this in my, I didn't even ask for that. Or they said they didn't know what they were asking for. They just said micro locks. And then someone would put something in and it would say, this is not what I'm seeing. This is not what I'm seeing. There's some people that have some level of hair knowledge and they kind of know, like, well, this doesn't seem like it should be, that this is what my hair should be doing. So you always just want to be from the very beginning honest and truthful, and never, honestly, maybe some people need to do that in their business to see how things evolve. But I think that it can end up really harming you when you sit, and like even in our network of pros, we have, and we almost had 200 people that are in our program, right? And not everyone is certified. We have a lot. Let's say we have almost 100. There's people that didn't, or that certified and did whatever that they got the training, and they're doing maybe on a different level. Like there's people that are doing hair on a certain level, and you don't want your reputation to carry you, where it's like they did this, as much information that's coming out now, like, and I've noticed even in our little circle in New York City, people hopped around, and some people who were angry at other people would say it, and then you would be in the hair, and you can clearly see how the foundation was laid. And not to say don't judge, but sometimes you're just like, wait, if you get so many people coming in that way, you're going to start to have your reputation. People talk, so it's kind of, what do you want to be a representation of the best quality work that you can provide? Because when the fad dies down and the people have locks in their hair, and people can have locks in their hair forever, this is almost 16 years. Imagine having your work carry around. It doesn't really represent what you want in somebody's head for two decades. Or I don't know if they keep it in that long. But some people say, well, parting is not right, but I just left it in. You don't want people to never feel 100% happy with the results, or you to look at it and say, man, they could have been better. Um, you said, you see what you said. I'm sorry, but the pain was real, and I'm so happy I decided to not bother about all the complete nonsense. The consultant was trying to, intuition, follow your gut. That's all I could tell people. Like, we don't have to know everything, but you can feel, like, um, like if it's extra pushy, or like you ask a question about repair and you don't really get a response. A lot of people miss saying things like that, or like they never could, they would always just tell you to use the product instead of explaining to you. Excuse me, y'all. Mm, I'm not 100%. My stomach is, ooh, I feel a little bit. So I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute, but um, that I'm gonna make sure I make my points. Also, um, well, let me show y'all this real quick first. Right. We don't sell you on a short term fantasy look. We help you to bring your dream results into your reality long term. I know it looked like it was out of the blue, but the reason I'm saying that is a lot. It's not, we're not trying to get you to get a look right now. You can have some beautiful results with your own hair doing the locking process properly. And so that is what I like to pay attention to. And people who believe in that as well are going to lay great foundations for you for your locks. Not going to play around with a fad. Not going to be wishy-washy sitting on a fence. They're not going to do things that are going to damage your hair, or that's going to require more work down the line, more hours that you're going to pay for. And that's just scammy and nasty to me. I think that if someone is investing in the proper education, there are foundation and standards. There's going to be more coming out about it to help the general public for people who maybe don't um, yet know about the foundation and groundwork I've been laying, or that's been being built on by really great professionals. So there'll be something that's coming to change that, absolutely, the end of this year and into next year. But this is I take it seriously, the results and how you could feel and all the possibilities that come out of having really great work. But I think when you are pinching together your money and you are, making an investment into your hair, you should be able to get the best return on it that goes beyond just that moment. Um, some things I'll just have to be quiet on, because I think I comment on a couple of things, like there's like a person, she's just doing, it looks great in the photos and the things, but it's just everything opposite from what a real optician who on a micro size knows. It is just loose hair and curls and just a really sharp grid, and everybody's like, oh. And then somebody was like, I did it. Somebody, they would talk this extensions with this two strand, like even the Maasai people, when I went to the Maasai village and they do Maasai twist, which is also known as Senegalese twist, they're the same thing. He said, we all know that we don't leave this hair in, because he said, oh, the dreads, the locks are becoming popular, but we all know we don't do it like that. You don't put two strand twist hair. Like, it was just, if the translator was saying it, and I was just like, it's like, they've been doing hair that's in their culture for generations, for centuries. And so it was just an understanding, like, certain things that won't get that result, even though they're doing it for the artistry and the culture. And I was just like, I was like, I think something's going on where people are doing things that don't really make sense, expecting an outcome to look a certain way. And I think it just requires people to understand how things evolve, like on a hair level, like on a knowledge, like, the theory of locks. I self-installed last year, evolving. I get a lot of compliments. Good. Some saying, "Did you do it two strand?" No, I interlock. But some people just want that what's trendy and cute for the moment. And also, True Scent Twist is easy. People want easy. People want free. But hi Tilma. Thank you for sharing that. I want to see your hair because you are a pro. She's in our program, y'all. Follow her if she has a pot pay. If she's public, I don't know. Um, I already know that. I try not to be like analyzing therapists, sociologists, analyzing group behavior, but that's what it is. If I had this option back in the day, that's why I try not to be too hard on DIYers, but I'm more hard on the pros because now you're posturing as a pro versus someone just playing in their hair. I can't get mad at you. You're doing your own hair. You're not scamming anybody. But it's those who are like, let's take what's been trendy in the DIY realm for this microloc realm that there's nobody, I have to come back. I had to wake up and revive my platforms and revive and start speaking out again. So I know I get heat from it. I got heat from it when I first started talking about it. But again, I really don't care about that because if there's a lot of people that value this information and I know it's not going to make me popular because what's trendy, it's not always right. What's right is not always trendy. So it is what it is. But there is so much value and great results that people can experience. So, let people say they did that, and that's fine. And you just keep saying, I did. I like to say interwoven, because interlock, I don't know. And then it's people doing, the different patterns they're doing are even like, why would you do that so loose? That's not even a full, like, what's the rationale behind that? And if they're like, it's fluffy, then I revert back to, if you want this outcome, this is a better, healthier way to achieve that outcome. It's just having an understanding and knowledge of locks and a lock process. It's going to require people to really pull out their knowledge right now and stand by it. And then you will be the beacon of light amongst. I'm not trying to sound mean. I'll say poorer quality. Um, doesn't mean it's not nice looking. It's just the quality could be. Um, yeah, y'all know I went off a little when someone was trying to come for my hair about when I was showing the repair photo of the person's hair, and all their hair was just really loose on one side and it was like big locks. But I don't know if they could see that it was loose. Um, and I think that TikTok cut off before I could explain it. And so they were going in about how they like that fluffy, loose look. And so I didn't share all the feedback that other people were saying to her because I was let me leave it alone. One person did say they don't know if people really truly want locks or all for a look, but someone was like, nobody can see that looks like a bird's net. Like there was like going in, and I didn't want to go in and make fun. I was just saying it doesn't look like locks. It looks like a messy hair. And if you want a messy hair look, that's fine, but do not when it comes to the realm of microlocks. My realm, my heart, my baby, please don't call it micro because it gets confusing when we really have pros who are really doing great work and we're really trying to provide not trying, we're providing great work or giving information that's really solid, is based on these best practices, based on every ingredient you need to create a solid method. It's in place with what we have, and you're trying to give that information out, and people are saying they want something that is not in that realm, and it just confuses people. And so yeah, let me say, so I wanted to say that, and then so now as I close out, we have a couple of things happening. All right, well, I'll speak on the Black Friday first, and then I'll speak on the holiday scholarships second. Really quick, Black Friday is going to be, there's announcements. It's usually really great for people who have been kind of like, I don't know, some people have been waiting for it. So we're going to announce to the wait list and email list first what special things are going on, but there are also changes that are going to be happening to the program in 2024. So this is the time to get in before those changes, before those price changes, before those program changes, before the additions are in. You get your foot in the door and you kind of get in. I'm not going to say anything else. I want to let things just speak for itself when it's I'm gonna hit you with it. Boom. You'd be like, oh. So let me just, I was like, okay, but also, so if you're prepared for that, just stay tuned because you're gonna start hearing stuff this week if you're on the wait list. I can tell you this: the wait list will be able to take advantage of the offer by next week. I'm going to tell y'all what it is, and then you're going to be able to take advantage of it first with the highest value, like the highest discounts. I just want to get my little calendar out real quick. And then yeah, and then it'll open up to the general public. Also, the holiday giveaway. We are going to accept applications on Monday, the 27th, which is 2 Mondays from now. You're going to be able to apply for a full scholarship. It is the full entire program, the business builder, the essentials program, installation, all of everything, the tools, the supplies, the community, the Microloc directory, the free, year after that, the certified pro courses, all of that. You're going to be able to get that. But I've been saying I need to tighten up and tighten up and tighten up because there's the thing that's really going to happen now. There is going the criteria. You should just have to apply and tell me. But I'm well aware that some people just like that aren't really invested. The concept sounds nice, but if you are like ready to go and you're like, listen, this is going to be an opportunity. I'm going to maximize the hell out of this. This is basically me giving you an endless amount of opportunity, money, and everything, and just saying go for it because I would have liked it. But when you show like how you're going to show that through your application, but also you're going to have to be able to give updates on the program for you. You gotta be involved and utilize it because there's somebody else that if you don't, there's somebody else that could have utilized it. And one of our last year's winners, Mina, actually was hired as a coach in our program. She's educational coach, so she's behind the scenes. Y'all don't see her unless it's like an emergency. And she works on a curriculum and she's helped with the facilitators guides and participant guides, things that we're going to be putting into our site trainers program, which I'm going to tell y'all about. We're going to have the selections this month too. We're selecting our initial cohort. And then you also know y'all get a little grant. But a lot of things need to be in place. Wanted to make sure y'all had your copies of your guides, your materials, all the stuff that you need um to go ahead and this is I'm gonna cry. I'm excited about this. It's a win-win for everybody. It helps give more opportunities for locations for Microloc Mastery in-person trainings, and it helps hopefully boost your income to astronomical heights because you are basically enrolling people for in-person training, and you're adding more to you in showcasing your skills and support of the fundamentals that we teach. So I'm excited about that. So much is happening this month. The giveaway will happen in December, but the applications will be starting in 2 weeks. So I just let people know that. Now, what's really going to help? As a lot of people watch, I don't know what that's about, but I'll let it go. My analytics are really high, like I double my chance, but it's not a lot of engagement. And I guess that happens to some people. Maybe some people need to kick it off. But if you don't follow, you don't like, and you pop out the blue and you're like, give me this full scholarship is worth thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars for free for you. I need to know that you at least follow, and that you've been engaged and you value this information. I haven't had a giveaway where I haven't given anyone anything, but I have giveaways where I don't know if I needed to be a little more about like, do you really want this? But everyone who's gone through the program with it has been able to use that to get themselves to another level. Those who finished, there's some that haven't finished. There's some things that happen, and so now there's going to be restrictions. Even if you were a past winner, if you haven't logged in a long time, we're gonna, you got to log in. You got to make sure that you utilize this because there are people that have utilized it and it's paid off for them. And I wish I could pay everyone $1 million, but I'm still happy to know that I'm hiring coaches. We have 3 that I was paying whenever, we help get people enrolled, and a lot of that enrollment fee goes to the coaches, and they get paid, and they really, because they're really holding it down. So that's what I want to do more of. In addition to you being in your own site, your own location, you can have your grants and stipends and things to help you, because this is how we have to move, right? So I try to ignore. There's a lot of like where a lot of people are at different levels of like, we should be all the way up here helping each other have really great successful businesses, but people are arguing about like you're telling me to. It's just like, no, the vision has always been there. I just had to be a single mama, a Black woman, which many people can relate to, which is why I'm going to give back. I was gone for a while. I know people don't know what I was building with this, and nor do they give the credit, but it's okay. But I also, in turn, want to help other women, and I'll continue to build on this because it works. It works. The system works. The techniques we teach and what we're adding on, I'm excited to share with y'all later. What? Because I had to keep thinking about how can I make something better? How can I make it more accessible so more people can take advantage of this? How can? And I was like, this is what we're changing for 2024. So when people get in, boom. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I'm a social worker, and my dream, and I told people I started a nonprofit, but I'm still working on. It's so busy, but it's also the empowering elements of the hair industry that I tune into, which is part of the reason why I'm so passionate about people doing great work. I'm not just sitting there talking about skills, and then I'm talking about you really could transform your business and the lives of others by doing great work. And it does serves us no purpose for some of them. There's just a lot of stuff of weird scammy stuff. There's either people copying people's programs. I had that happen, people paying other people. You have to thinking it's us. And then teaching them on these methods I talk exactly against. So that's why I just want to give people the information, like be careful, because there's so much that we can do and be powerful on it. I don't know if those are just the way the energy works, or the agents. I don't know, to kind of like go in and keep making things divisive and making things pulling from really providing great work and great services and allowing people to have what they need so they can help pay it forward. Um, on another note, because some people know I've been in legal stuff, and we put a lot of money into legal that should have gone into this program. But if we just supported and respected each other's names of their businesses, proprietary information, we didn't try to come for taking everything, then we could just respect and we can harmoniously live. And if we were dead set on good information, then I think some people are dead set on just the trend, and it's like, don't, no, don't, I want to do what I want, but it's creating havoc and problems. So if someone is speaking about creating something that's going to be more solid, um, more equitable, more fair, have better results, why wouldn't that be able to be on a platform? And so, it's a lot of stuff. I'll share another time, but it's I think you applied to, Precious, and just the first initial people that we're gonna get back to. Um, I want people to know that doesn't mean that if you didn't get called back for the first one that you're out. Because I'm honestly, I want to accept everybody in the program, but I can't start with everybody. I gotta make sure we got the funds and we got everything we need for y'all. And y'all want to put a whisper to the people that are that we had to keep doing legal stuff to tell them to stop copying. That helps. I had to say something. I keep it inside so much. I keep it inside, y'all. Oh my gosh, but it's okay. It is going to all work out in an amazing way. People lack integrity this age, but here goes. I'm a therapist, so I'm always like, but what is that about? Because I have my own stuff. I have my own stuff. But I always want to look at myself and say, what does this feeling bring up for me? If I can't be happy for that. So glad for Nina. Who's Nina? Wait, my brain is blank. Who the heck is Nina? It's gonna hit me, and I'm be like, oh, but right now I don't know who Nina is. Oh, Nina. I was like, am I missing something? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, Nina. she's on behind the scenes, but she's such a helpful part. I love my coaches. Y'all, I love the people in this program. I love all of y'all. I had to sit and tell myself I absolutely am blessed with good people that come. Like, and then just in between, her real name is Tasha. I call her Tosha. And Frida, the two educational coaches and the people that we just passed. I just feel because I'm getting such good feedback from everybody, and I'm glad it's not just me doing it anymore. It used to be me doing everything, and now I'm just happy. And I want to bring on more and more coaches. So I just want to tell people this is just going to be a way for us to support each other to whatever goals we have for our own success, even through this platform. But we are never not going to talk about good quality hair. We are not going to get it missed. If I have to ditch all of that to focus on the quality of the hair and the skills, I will. But I know that we got that as the primary thing, and now we are bringing, adding other elements because it was my story of how I had only, I was thrown into single motherhood. And then I had a degree, but it wasn't serving me. I couldn't really work properly because I didn't expect to be a single mama. And I remember having a client doing hair in my living room, and my daughter's father was supposed to be watching my daughter. And I was running out of milk because I was so stressed and overworked, right? So every time I pumped, it was less. It was one point, it wasn't even an ounce. And I cried. I was like, my baby's gonna starve. I gotta give her formula. And I don't like the idea of it, but I was like, I gotta feed my baby. So I don't care if I don't like the idea of it. And I got, the most like organic when I could find, whatever. I was just like, I need to feed my baby. And I asked him to, he's going to the store for something. I said, could you please pick up a can of formula? We need some. He just bust the wrath that he released in front of me and my client. And he said, take it out to child support. I was like, I'm in the middle of doing hair. He was supposed to be upstairs watching her, which I thought was great. But I guess he didn't want me to say anything to him. He said he was going to the store because she was sleeping. And the baby's just crying, started crying. And my client was like, I'll hold her. My client witnessed all of this. And I was like, wanted to cry. But I pulled it together and I said, I apologize that you had to witness that. This is a little hard for me. And I did hair. And I just took more clients, and she held my baby while I did her hair. And it was just like those memories you can't erase. I still had to make sure that I did her hair well and that I stood by what I felt was going to be integrity for my clients while I went through the huge thing. And a lot of people I know are in the same position. A lot of y'all are going through things that you never share with people, or you've been through things you never shared, and you still show up and you still are dedicated to providing quality services for your client or for yourself or whoever. And you still want to uphold this, and you can, but we don't expect you to be superwoman. Sometimes you need a hand. All right. And I felt like that's just kind of the space that I operate in, because I was like, I don't care what degree. I have an Ivy League degree. I still ain't have a job. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't work the way I wanted to work. And so this business is what did it. Now I always say, what if I didn't, I had my mentor who was the one who helped me, with my training, and also really helped me with business fundamentals and stuff. So she was a lifesaver. So I felt like having mentors and making mentors was really important. And so if someone needs something, I want to be able to say, well, why can't I also be, our program be something that could be that for help, even if it's just this community space. I know we're virtual mostly, but that's just my little story. Sorry, y'all, y'all tuned off. Mina. Why are men so, yeah, girl, yeah, you might be on my personal page on Facebook, but I had made a post and then it was just talking about single mother. Like, I give a collective vent. I speak for people. Like, I speak for things. I don't care if if there's a lot of single mothers struggling. I'm gonna say this is a shame that there's not a lot of people, enough people helping. And then so I had a whole thing. What I do think is I know that I attracted him because where I was, but that doesn't matter. There's women, all different backgrounds, all different ages that are dealing with the same nonsense. So it's not a testimony to say that we're terrible people and we got to choose. I hate that choose better. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all came for hair. So let's let me wrap it up. Thank y'all for listening. Make sure I cover my points. I'm covering my points. If you didn't like this video, like it. If you didn't subscribe to this the YouTube channel, subscribe. Oh shoot, I meant to put all the channels and stuff up. Let me see if I have it here. If you are in a Facebook group or you want to be in a Facebook group, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the bottom. If you are not in a Facebook group, get in a Facebook group. We're gonna do something before the year is out that only the Facebook group is gonna have. So join it. That's how you can join the Facebook group at the bottom. And then I'm gonna share with you. I think I have it on here. I don't know. Shoot, I don't think it's on here. Microloc Mastery. Microloc dot mastery on IG. Um, Microloc Mastery on YouTube or Jessica Marshall, CEO. No, it's Jessica CEO MBHC Microloc Mastery. It's a long title, but I'll look for that to drop it. And what else? TikTok. I got 3 TikTok pages, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing on these social medias. Just bear with me because half the time I don't know what I'm doing. I have 3 pages, but there's you could just see Michael Lock Mastery Training on TikTok. There's 2 other pages. There's Microlocks. That's on TikTok. You can follow that as well. Um yeah. So what we do is we check. Oh wow, I'm looking at the winners from the past. So we have Autumn, Tamika, Chandrika. The names just came up here on the side because I had shouted y'all out last year and the year before last. So yep, I look forward to seeing I look forward to seeing y'all your applications if you want to be a part of that. I look forward to the Black Friday for joining y'all in. Congratulations. We have some newly certified people. I'm going to give y'all a big shout out for the entire year. Everyone that's been certified for the entire year. Y'all are putting your thing. Y'all doing your thing right now. I know y'all like, let's get this in for 2023 because 2024, many people already feel it. It's already going. Might as well lay your foundation solid and good so that you can have your it's not just going to be 2024 that's going to be good. It's going to propel you all the way into infinity of your success just building upon itself. You're going to ride. Everyone's going to be a collective successful bunch here with us. So if it's something that you want to join, I would say this is the time. But if not, you're still part of the family. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your Monday. Bye.